right, it's been a minute, but we are back for another episode of This Disc is Great with Steve and Nate. Turns out this is episode 64. So we're actually going to go ahead, and we're not doing Latitude 64 disc, unfortunately, but we're going to go ahead and give away this Latitude 64 Opto-X Explorer during the video. We'll also give away both of the deflectors that we threw. We got both of these special edition stamps. So 3 giveaways that you can win. You'll win the blue deflector by guessing which of us threw it the farthest and how far that was. So guess Nate 630 or like Steve 175, and you might win. So get your guesses in before the throws happen, and somebody will win one of these deflectors. I want to give Steve. There's kind of big tournament going on this week.
Yeah.
Pro Worlds started today. I haven't looked at any of the live scoring from today. But I want to give this Opto-X Explorer away to someone who guesses who just can't be right because we'll have to give away live. But just give me your guess for who's going to win Pro Worlds, and we'll give this away to somebody who guesses the winner of Pro Worlds. And then the white deflector will just go to somebody who makes a good comment, asks a good question. Ask us any questions you want about the deflector, about disc golf, about Worlds. We'll try to answer those at the end of the video, and we'll get to that. But yeah, so Steve, how you been? It's been like 3 weeks since we talked to the people, so how's
Has it been 3?
Well, I mean, we did the...
I know, I was by myself 3 weeks ago,
yeah.
Right? So then we went to the course, and you guys got to see me dink it right into the first tree. That was a good time. And actually, neither Nate or I ended up beating anyone, so...
we didn't need to tell anybody that.
Oh, it's all right.
Who won that?
Some guy works in the sales department.
He sells shirts, I guess.
But last week we were out because they were re-drilling the sewer line through the concrete, and that's really loud. So we couldn't film last week, so we're glad to be back. Again, This is Great is a review show where we take the discs out, throw them a bunch of times, so we can tell you what they fly like, so we can know what they fly like. We'll show you some video of the throws here in just a minute. But again, make sure you're getting your guesses in for longest distances, get your guess in for who's going to win Pro Worlds, and get your questions in about anything disc golf or Steve Nate related. Just your quick disc member update, we do have all the packages have gone out. Get your posts up for the raffle on the 15th. We got lots of Discraft stuff coming. Post to Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter, and we will get with hashtag dismember or hashtag dismember and @disstore gets you into the raffle. Make sure they both turn blue so that we can actually find it. And then Steve, do you know what's coming in October dismember? Have you seen that promo?
I know I saw the Skullboy stuff, and anything Skullboy is sweet. Yes.
So we're getting recycled Ballista Pros. They're the first release of that mold in that plastic, plus a really sweet with Skullboy artwork. And a really sweet shirt with matching artwork and a sweet Schoolboy sticker. Your friend's going to be jealous of this disc. Get on there real quick.
I've been waiting for another shirt as well, so I'm really pumped that we finally were like, you know what, let's do another jersey. So super awesome package. And you guys, the artwork is sick. You're not going to believe it.
It's good. We'll preview it a little more next week, but it looks real good. All right, again, we are on episode 64 of This Disc is Great with Steve and Nate. This week we have the MVP Deflector. Steve, why don't you run us through what the deflector is supposed to be?
All right. With a speed of 5, glide of 3.5, turn of 0, and fade of 4, MVP says this about the deflector. The Neutron Deflector answers the call of many fans looking for a slower speed disc with powerful overstability. On an Anheuser release, the deflector will fight out of its turn and flatten out to fade. On a Heiser line, the disc will follow a smooth fade with a pronounced stable finish. High-power forehand and backhand players will find a mid-range that they can unleash on and have the confidence of a predictable finishing fade. The deflector is also ushering in a new patented era for MVP discs with the new flight rating system and new Neutron stock stamp. With a comfortable rim size, overstability, and smooth flight lines, the deflector is going to find a spot in players' bags for sure.
All right, so you gave us the numbers in there, didn't you already?
Yep.
All right, so let's run that by again. The numbers are speed 5, glide 3.5, turn 0, and fade of 4. which, again, this is the first time the MVP's put real flight numbers on discs,
Yeah.
and now all of their discs that come out from here on out will have flight numbers on them. They're redoing all the stamps. What we got for you are both of these special edition stamps for the Deflector, the TV coil, and the 8-bit video game ones. They're super sweet, nice, cool looking discs that you guys can win by guessing the farthest distance. Yeah, so that's really overstable. So what disc does that jump out at you as far as comparisons?
Yeah, first thing that came to mind was actually the Justice, just that 04. But then at the same time, Gator is also 04. The Mortar is 03. Not as completely as overstable, but then, we just did the Cayman a little while ago. We actually threw these at the same time that we filmed. So it was just overstable, one after another. Just predictable as being overstable, and didn't really want to go real far.
Yeah, so it's also really close to the Anvil. Like the Anvil and the Justice fly pretty close together. The Anvil just is slightly glidier. This just has a similar feel to it because it doesn't have that big Justice bead.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's really comfortable in the hand, and we'll check out and see how it throws here. Again, all those overstable discs is what it's supposed to fly like. So let's see if it is as overstable as advertised. Both of this, we got a 174 and 176 as far as weight goes. We try to stay as close to 175 as we can, just for consistency between videos.
All right.
Yeah.
One group says it is as beefy as advertised.
Oh, and they were advertised as really beefy. The box moved when I opened it. Not even kidding.
Yeah.
There was an audible moo when I opened the box. All right, so probably our typical Steve Heiser.
That wasn't as Heiser as it looked, but you let it go, anything under flat, it's going to hold that, and then probably drop even a little more out of that flight. Literally, it was.
There is no flip up in that disc.
Do you want it to hit the ground and stop? Throw this disc.
Yeah, the grass is still pretty tall out there, so we're not getting a ton of skips.
No.
So we can't really say if it's super skippy or not. But yeah, that no turn, that wasn't fighting out of that Heiser at all.
Never.
Do you remember what the wind was like on this day?
This seemed like a pretty calm day, if I remember. If anything, we might have had a tailwind for once.
So that's a pretty standard upshot throw right there.
Exactly, another 220. If I'm throwing anything, if I'm throwing a straight line, like if I need to get around something, this is perfect. Like if I can throw a putter in a straight line, that's about as far as I want to get a putter. But it's just like, you know what? I need to get around this, or there's some ceiling that I have to stay under, and the putter just isn't fast
skip
enough.
around,
Yeah.
things like that. Yeah, I mean, it's the ended straight. It's kind of what you want. So this is a nice flat, hard release. That's not turn. That's a little bit of grip lock. I threw it that direction. Again, no turn, nothing, just flat, and then dumping out really hard. Again, when I'm throwing for these videos, I'm trying to land as straightforward as possible, and that's pretty straight. So I hit the spot I was aiming at, and 279 is a pretty good pump with one of these. I'm throwing this when same place I throw my Justices. When I'm trying not to go too far, that's when I throw these. You don't want it. It's for that range control, for that placement upshot, exactly what I want it to do. So this is me trying to turn it over, trying to see if I can get it to turn, and it said no.
Resistance is
really
futile.
quick. So on a big flex, that's like for my Mavericks or something, that's roller angle almost.
Oh yeah.
So it's fighting out of that turn almost right away and finishing really hard left. The same flight I get out of my Justice, the same flight we got out of the Anvil, the same flight we got out of the Cayman. Really reliable overstability. Which is good, because I mean, we've been talking for forever that there's no disc like the Justice. And now all of a sudden there's like 6 discs like the Justice.
Hey, we made it, guys.
And that was the grip lock of grip locks. Like I was trying to throw my arm out of socket and just ripped on it as hard as I could, turned over, grip locked it, and it still fought out really hard and almost all the way back to vertical. So, and that's, again, as hard as I can rip it, and I got it to go 305. So this is not your max distance disc at all. It's a mid-range, not supposed to be. I say that low glide at 3.5 is there. It's not gliding very far. It's dropping out of the sky right away. So, with all that said, this sounds like a pretty good forehand up disc, doesn't it?
Absolutely. When I'm looking at a forehand and no, I can't go too far. If you can trust the disc to come out ante or flat and know it's going to come back, that's exactly a spot in the bag that needs to be filled.
Yeah, there's a lot of shot shaping you can do in the woods to get out of trouble, get around things. 250 on an approach forehand is all that I need.
Absolutely.
So I can just pop. I like throwing my Justice on that line for a lot of upshots. I can pop it hard, know that it's going to flex back, and I don't have to worry about my release angle as much. I don't have to worry about like if I wrist roll, it's going to fix it and pop out and go where I need it to go.
And that's just another like 75 feet more than your zone probably?
My zone is just since it's a little slower, it doesn't fight out of that wrist roll as hard, and so if I pop it over too much, it'll go, and so this is just that little extra speed and stability to really make sure it doesn't do that.
So after seeing how much hyzer I could put on it, I tried to see how much anhyzer I could put on it. That's pretty significant, and I like to roll my wrist a little bit at the end as well. So that's a bomb, honestly, for me with this disc. Yeah, that's a ton of anti, and it almost immediately goes flat. This thing just comes out, never a doubt that it was not going to come back. You could probably even almost throw this on a roller line. It's probably going to at least hit the ground flat.
Yep. So this is the kind of shot I expect to throw with it a lot, that standstill forehand approach shot. And 179 for those standstill approaches, if I'm throwing over 200, I'm not going to throw a standstill. But again, there's that pop it over on ante, let it flex out and hit right where I want it to. Does that shot exactly the way I want it to. Again, it's really overstable, so again, this wouldn't be necessarily the disc we recommend for a beginner, but it is the disc that we kind of want to, like, for those reliable flex shots in the wind. Like, I can throw that ante into the wind and I'm still not scared about it turning over. Or if you're in Kansas and you get your 35 mile an hour ripping headwinds, you can throw this hard and flat and it's not going to flip. It's one of those things where, like, when we get overstable mids like this, it's always like, well, is it really overstable? What do you think, Steve? Is it
2 thumbs up on overstability for me?
Yep.
If I was going to try and throw a spike hyzer, this would be my short spike hyzer disc. It comes out really clean though. Just the rim fits. It's very comfortable. It's just a little bit bigger. I would say it's just a little bit bigger than a putter. Like, it's not super big.
Yeah.
I'd say
It's pretty deep.
I'd say a Truth has probably a bigger rim, and I would say this is deeper than a Truth or the Matrix per se.
It does feel very much like the Anvil, as far as, like, the Anvil I would say is a beadless Justice. And this feels very similar. I think you could be blindfolded and grab both of these discs, and if it wasn't for the overmold, you wouldn't know which one it was. So they're really similar discs, fly really similar. Just like the Anvil, I think it just has a touch more glide than a Justice does. But that's not saying much because the Justice has, like, no glide. So it fills that same slot in the bag. It's a little more comfortable for me, both forehand and backhand. So whenever I lose all my Justices, I might be looking to replace them with Anvils or Deflectors just for that comfortability factor. But yeah, it's exactly what it's supposed to be. It feels great. Fills that hole in the lineup that MVP had. They didn't have a mid that was truly overstable. So this fills a hole. Really great disc that came out exactly the way they wanted them to. And yeah, check these out. If you need that overstable Justice replacement, this is it.
I wonder if Dollar's going to throw any of these.
Dollar is throwing these.
He is? Okay.
He definitely had his tour. He had his tour series come out with those. So they're pretty sweet. So, all right, that is episode 64, the MVP Deflector. Go check these out on the website. I'm sure that link has been posted in the comments, and we will get back to you next week, and we'll get to your questions here in just a minute.